Well, hello everyone, I'm Postmaster Radio, and it's time to bring on the funny! You're listening to Ujokes Weekly, the official podcast bringing you the highlights from Jonathan Mangum's virtual comedy show, Ujokes. It's where comedians and average Joes from YouTube and Facebook compete against one another for the best joke. It's comedy gold at your fingertips. This week, there were two amazing shows, one sci-fi themed with Aaron Douglas and Connor Trinneer. And just as a quick side note, shout out to Jonathan Mangum. Thank you for having me on the Sci-Fi show. I'm not sure if any of you saw it, but it was because of the last show's best joke from last week with the supervillain game and the picture of a guy with a dog on his head. I think we talked about that on last week's podcast. My joke, I'm not sure if you saw it in the YouTube comment section, Alfred Hitchcocker Spaniel. Oh yeah, really good joke, I would say. And again, thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me on Ujokes. Such a fun time. I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the podcast, so keep listening. But anyway, that's the Sci-Fi show, and then the other Ujokes episode from this week, Kurt Scholler versus Carolyn Page. Good comedians all around. You don't want to miss a single moment of the highlights. Before we get going, though, I want to let you know, obviously, if you missed last week's Ujokes podcast, catch up now via the link in the description, and make sure to keep listening for the Ujokes Awards with winners for Comedian of the Week and other awards like the Mangum Moment, plus a Ujokes Extra involving the word bungvunt, don't look it up in Merriam or Webster, totally not real, that came so close to making the Ujokes Top 5 countdown for this week. You do not want to miss a moment of the fun, the laughs, the excitement, and now let's get started! Spot number 5 on the Ujokes countdown is for Kurt Scholler from Friday's show, and this is for a game of Happy Hour. Picture is shown, you gotta come up with a drink name. Now, the picture showed an elderly man with a martini glass in one hand, and the joke that Mr. Kurt came up with was Sin and Tonic. So a bit of a fun pun on gin and tonic. Great joke from Kurt to start the countdown. Moving on to spot number 4 on the countdown, we backtrack to an earlier point in that same show for a game of Inspirational Poster. Personally, one of my favorite games on Ujokes. But a picture is shown, and you have to come up with an inspirational saying. Your own inspirational saying, really. And although Mr. Michael Mazzetti from the audience over on Facebook had a really good joke, my favorite personally from that game, for a picture of two kitties with lightsabers that look like they're going to kill each other, may the furs be with you. That, I would say, is my favorite joke from Inspirational Poster. So yeah, Michael Mazzetti, I would say you beat the comedians, regardless of whether or not everyone else on the YouTube and Facebook chat thought so. But I will say Kurt and Carolyn had a couple of good ones as well, as you're about to find out.
This is, we've been watching Star Wars films on Monday nights, and we just got done watching The Empire Strikes Back. So this one is, no, kitten, I am your feline. I like it. No, kitten, I'm your feline. Carolyn, what does this inspirational poster say?
Well, if you know anything about Star Wars lore, you know there's usually a Padawan learner and a Jedi master, and it's the Jedi's job to teach the Padawan important life lessons. And I'm going right, taking the easy way out. This inspirational poster says, "Don't be a pussy," and that's what it says.
But still, I mean, come on. Personally, for me, Michael won that game. So yeah, congrats, Michael Mazzetti. Now, for the remainder of the countdown, this is where we get to the Sci-Fi show with Aaron Douglas and Connor Trinneer, although more so Aaron Douglas. I would say that he dominated and out-joked Connor on the show, and yes, I know out-joked is not a word, but I think it describes it very accurately, as you're about to find out. Spot numero 3 on the countdown. This is for a Sci-Fi exclusive game that I hope makes a comeback sooner rather than later, Captain Catchphrase, where a picture is shown and you have to come up with a catchphrase. For the picture, it was It was a lady with a carrot stick in one hand and electrical cord in the other hand. Aaron had a fantastic joke that references Mr. Bean. And I gotta admit, I was kind of on the same page with him when I was trying to see if I could come up with a good joke for that, that game, a good catchphrase. I myself could not, so Aaron, I don't know how you thought of this joke, but awesome. Awesome stuff.
That is Captain Marjorie Bean, sister of Mr. Bean. She actually speaks, and her catchphrase is, "Get me the universal adapter!"
Yes!
And I believe Aaron won that game for that joke. So if he did, congratulations. If not, well, you really should have. That was a damn good joke. Speaking of Mr. Aaron Douglas, though, he is still killing it. Spot number 2 on the countdown. This is for Space Dance, where a picture is shown and you have to come up with a good name for the dance being shown. Now, the picture showed a machine. It looked like a female robot, if you ask me, in a ballet production. Now, my joke, for those of you that missed the Sci-Fi show for that one, my joke was from a ballet production of Romeo and Juliet, the Tin Can. But Mr. Aaron Douglas coming out on top once again, and if I had to have lost that game, I'm actually proud to have lost to Aaron, especially with a damn funny joke like this one.
This is a beautiful dance set to a wonderful piece of music. This is called the Bolts and Nutcracker Suite. Very good.
I wasn't sure that nuts would be involved in this particular dance, but of course they were, because it's Aaron Douglas.
Yeah. The Bolts and Nutcracker Suite. Genius. And finally, for spot number 1 on the countdown, we go to Name the Movie. Yet another familiar game on Ujokes. And this joke is actually not for Aaron, neither for Connor Trinneer, but it is for Jess S from the Facebook chat. S because I am not pronouncing his last name for fear of mispronouncing it. And I say that because, and I mean this in the best way possible, folks, because if you were tuning into the past couple of shows on Ujokes, you would know that he has had some really good jokes that were picked by Jonathan's producer, Josh. Unfortunately, his last name keeps being botched up until Friday's show. And I would rather not risk making that same mistake. I don't want to risk making Jonathan's mistake. So yeah, let's just call him just S, alright? Anyway, great joke from him for the Name the Movie game of a picture with a cat with 3 eyes, close in cuddles of the third eye. Again, comedy gold. So congrats, Jess. And we are actually going to come back to him in just a couple of seconds for one of the awards coming up right now on our next segment, the Ujokes Awards. It's like the Oscars, but far shorter with no long-winded speeches whatsoever. The first award, Comedian of the Week, and the winner, or winners this week, I'm not just saying this because, well, I was on the show, but the Sci-Fi guys, Aaron Douglas and Connor Trinneer, although to be honest, Aaron Douglas more so, because he had some really good jokes on that show. And speaking of the Sci-Fi edition of Ujokes, Game of the Week goes to Space Dance. Some really good jokes all around, not only from myself, but also from the YouTube chat. Someone on YouTube had Macarena, as I recall, and again, Connor and Aaron had their amazing jokes too. Next up, we have the Audience Award for the best audience joke from the YouTube or Facebook chats. Just keep in mind, for any jokes to be considered for the Audience Award, they need to be picked by Jonathan's producer, Josh, and they don't necessarily need to beat the comedians, but in the case of, again, just S with Closing Cuddles of the Third Eye, it would definitely be a big help. So congrats, Jess, because you won the Audience Award this week. And speaking of Mr. Jess S, that also leads into the Mangum moment, where I think he was talking about Jess on Friday's show, because Jess had another good joke for one of the games. When it came time to say, Jess and the joke, Jonathan in the end was like, and thank you, Jess, for giving me the opportunity to not try and pronounce your last name. So yeah, something along those lines. Anyway, very funny moment from Mangum henceforth. That makes it this week's Mangum moment. And the last award of the night, Perplexing Pick. You know what? I'm going to give it to Captain Catchphrase, because it's a pick that has to make me go, like, what the heck am I seeing? Or is it really that tough for me to come up with a good joke for that game? The Captain Catchphrase pick with the lady with the carrot and the electrical cord. That is my perplexing pick, the winner for that award. And just like that, all 5 awards of the Ujokes Awards ceremony, but not really a ceremony, have been handed out. So we're almost done with the podcast, but there is one more thing we do here called Ujokes Extras, where we go over a couple of extra moments, if any, that come so close to making the top 5 countdown for the best Ujokes moments of the week. The only extra that I have for you is the game What's It Mean from Kurt and Carolyn's show. And this is for a made-up word that you can come up with a fake definition. The word was bungvunt.
You're not going to like this one. Bungvunt is the technical term for a beetle's vagina. Bungvunt.
This is true.
Beetle's vagina, a bungvunt. Oh, I don't want to know how you knew that. Kurt, bungvunt, what does it mean?
Oh, man. Well, you know what? In America, you know what I mean? We have our pants. They're fine. But this is a part of a German pants. There's a flap on the back of the pants that put out. And if a couple girls go out to like a spicy food restaurant and they're just like, oh my God, open up that bungvunt. Yeah. It's the flap on the back. Yeah.
Y'all had this special dirndl made with the bungvunt in it.
Yeah, open that thing up.
It's very comfortable.
Oh, and as for the audience pick, YouTube user Lava Gay, and the joke was, for that audience member, IKEA sex toy. Would it surprise you to know that Kurt's joke won the game? I do not think so. I do not think that should be surprising. Great job, Kurt, for winning the game with the best definition of bungvunt. And with that being said, that's all the highlights that I have for you this week. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the Ujokes podcast. Don't forget, new episodes of Ujokes will be on Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, on Jonathan's Ujokes YouTube channel, link in the description, or you can also play along via Facebook Live. Also, do not forget, new episodes of Ujokes Weekly, the official Ujokes podcast, will be usually released on Sundays. Of course, this podcast is coming to you a little bit later than I expected, so sorry for the wait. And again, I hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find new Ujokes podcasts on Spreaker and Spotify, and beginning with this week, they will also be on YouTube as well. So this is going to be pretty exciting. And don't forget to stay connected with me on Twitter and Instagram at Postmaster Radio. All of the account links are in the description. And until next time, well, bye for now. See ya!